Hey everyone, it's Ellis, and this is the patch 9.6 notes rundown. We are just going to jump right into it. I have high hopes. Probably going to mean I'm going to get disappointed. All right, let's see. Kayle. Attack damage growth and attack speed growth decreased. W movement speed ratio decreased. Default adaptive swapped. E and W responsiveness increased. Wow. Attack damage growth. She ends up losing a longsword now at level 18. Attack speed growth. Almost loses a dagger. Default adaptive is attack damage. Okay. Recommended items updated to Gwynsu's Rageblade and Blade of the Ruined King. W Celestial's Blessing. Bonus movement speed 10% per 100 ability power to 8% per 100 ability power. Celestial Blessing applies its effect after a 0.2 to immediately. Pause for dramatic. He no longer disarms herself. Okay. E Starfire Spellblade 0.25 seconds, identical to Kayle's basic attack windup. Okay. This is atrocious. This champion cannot lane. It absolutely cannot lane at the highest levels. She cannot do anything. There is absolutely nothing she can do to try to circumvent the laning phase or to try to sustain through it. She is a poor version of Gangplank when it comes to E with Grasp of the Undying. She is an extremely poor version of Klepto Gangplank. Her Q damage requires points in it in order to start becoming effective as a CS method. Her high base mana makes it so that it's very awkward throughout many parts of the laning phase. The fact that she has to wait till 16 is so problematic because she's so weak until 16. Her items are so expensive, which is very different from the old Kayle. Her kit has anti-synergy built into it, which is fine if her numbers are there to sort of gate her. And then Riot's response to all of this is to hit her. It is a meme in the Korean community right now. Just pick Kayle. She is worse than Jinx. She is worse than Kog'Maw late game. Except Jinx and Kog'Maw actually do stuff at 1 and 2 items. They're actually still champions. A lot of people tell me, oh, well, Kayle has AoE range and Kayle deals true damage and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, Kayle's build is also more expensive. Kayle also doesn't have the same amount of synergy with the recipe items that build into her final build as Jinx and Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw does have AoE. It's called Runon's Hurricane. Kog'Maw has more movement speed that is not gated by an ability. Kog'Maw has more mobility, not movement speed. Kog'Maw has more mobility. Kog'Maw has more damage. It's just so strange to me that there's champions that can attack faster than her, deal more damage, have more range, and yet her level 16 is supposed to be a godsend. It's very, very, I don't know. I've not seen a champion get nerfed whilst being as bad as it is in quite a while. Maybe Nunu, but I guess if they've given up on making... So, like, Nunu's changes, I think, were more so just gated at solo queue. Maybe they revisit him for competitive. This looks like they actually legitimately think Kayle is a champion. And so, this is... I don't know what to say about this, because she can't jungle, she can't support, she can't go 80 carry, she can't go mid lane, and then a lot of people are like, oh yeah, just take her top lane. No, she can't go top lane. Jayce will, Kayle's going to have a child. Gangplank will just destroy her. Vladimir out-heals her. She can't keep up against him. Her mana costs are too high. Jax will absolutely annihilate her. there's just so many top lane champions. Victor, she can't even approach the lane. Cassiopeia, good luck. It's just really weird. All right, whatever. We're going to move on. Nico, attack speed growth increased. W no longer procs twice in a row at very high attack speeds. Okay. So attack speed growth is up by 1, so she ends up getting a dagger and a half. I mean, that's pretty good value. W no longer procs twice in a row at very high. Okay, bug fix. That's fine. Ornn, W cooldown decreased. Recommended items updated. Ornn can no longer accidentally cancel E and R by dashes by upgrading an ally item. Q no longer expires if Ornn is mid-dash. I don't know what that Q thing means. Oh, okay. It'll hold it. Ooh, that creates some interesting timings. Bellows Breath, 12 to 10 seconds. That's really big because he gets 40% CDR. That's really big. That's his first max, and he gets 40% CDR. I think those Ornn buffs are really cool. I know that some people are picking him, and some people are trying to make him work, but I think that he can only exist as a really hard counter pick to an overall team composition, but he's not able to just come in as a counter pick by himself. I think that the stars have to align for Ornn. Urgot. Mana region growth increase. Passive no longer deals reduced damage to the same target. W shield removed. Cost cooldown damage reduction decreased. Now a permanent toggle at max rank. E now shields. Damage and cost increased. Cooldown decreased. R range damage and cast time increased. Okay. Mana is up by 40. So if I recall the nerfs, that gives him 2 old casts of something. Mana region growth 0.6 to 0.8. Maybe he ends up getting 3 extra spell casts. Mana cost down on Purge. No longer grants the shield. Down by 25. Okay, cooldown is down massively. Becomes a toggle. But with the cooldown being as low as it is, on-hit damage reduction 66 to 50%. I think this ends up meaning that, yeah, Urgot doesn't have to max W at all. E disdain shield grants 60 to 140 plus 1.5 bonus attack damage plus 15% bonus health. This is fantastic because of the Black Cleaver. The damage is up if you, I'm assuming the damage is up if you get Black Cleaver plus Guardian Angel, but obviously I don't know the math. Make sure to check out Freak on that. The cooldown is increased late, but 14 seconds, so it's the equivalency of rank 3, which you don't get until way later, I believe. Although maybe you end up getting it now. Maybe the maxes end up being a little bit different. Maybe you max Q and then E now on Urgot. Maybe that's the way that this ends up playing out. R Fear Beyond Death. Range is, wow, that's a lot of range. Cast time 0.4 to 0.5, that's fine. Damage 50 to 300, scaling to 0.5 total. 75 flat damage on it? Oh, Urgot's back. Welcome back, buddy. Oh, hello. Welcome. That's really sick. You don't even have to hit the E to... Oh, that's really sick. Urgot's back. Bonus AD versus total. Yeah. But his base AD is pretty low, so... 1.0 bonus attack. I mean, it's kind of close. I mean, this is great. Simple changes. Atrox now pulls targets even when they're untargetable. Passive no longer cancels when reviving. Okay. Buffs icons on the buff debuff bar no longer show up as blank boxes. W Infernal okay, these are all just bug fixes. This is all completely fine. Caitlyn, R damage increased by 50 at each rank. I think this is actually really, really good and big for her. I think that Caitlyn is on the cusp of being pretty viable, so I think that this definitely helps shift her in that direction. Gnar W cooldown decreased. Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. Q stacks correctly and increases damage. Deals 10% damage per stack of Rampage. Can maybe make Hecarim unviable, actually, no? Yeah, this can actually maybe... This can actually maybe make him viable. W more quickly empowers Ivern attacks when he enters Brush. It's a nice buff. Jayce, health... Yes! I talked with Chad about this. Base stats, loses 16 HP, health growth 5 per level, so 16 plus 25, he loses 41 HP at level 5. Health regen, all right, he's going to lose about maybe 70, right? 77, no, more than that. Oh, he's going to lose a lot of HP by level 5. Oh, this is really great. I think this is really nice. I think this makes Jayce still really good if you're very good at Jayce. But I think this hurts all the fake Jayces, the wannabe Jayce. Q ratio decreased. Q Sigil of Malice, 0.4 ability power to 0.3. Trying to think what this does for her early laning. It's not the end of the world. Leblanc's still definitely going to be viable. I think this is actually a very good nerf. Nautilus, armor increased, passive cooldown decreased. Armor 35.5 to 39. Yes. Per target cooldown, 9 to 6 seconds from levels 1, 6, 11, 16 to just 6 flat. Nice. I like this. Nice. Okay. Our Reksai cooldown increased, late ratio decreased. Hard hate this. Cooldown 100 to 60 seconds to 100 to 80 seconds. Ratio 2.0 bonus attack to 1.75 bonus attack. Reksai in competitive is still the same Reksai that she was before. People are just willing to pick her a little bit more now because other junglers are also having problems. And Reksai is the AD version of Nidalee that is able to still power farm. Doesn't still change that the mid to late transition for her is still really, really bad, even if she's a menace inside a solo queue. So while this doesn't really affect competitive all that much, it definitely is something that will be felt. This is much more impactful for solo queue. Shen, Q damage increased. Giving Shen some power to better battle it out in top lane. Twilight Assault gets 10 back, so this isn't all the way where it was at before. I believe that it used to be at 15. I think it used to be at 15, and then it used to cap at 45. So late game Shen is almost the same as late game Shen used to be. Obviously, this is also really fantastic for Shen's support, which I do think is situationally viable. Sylas, base heal and heal ratio decreased. This is just, can they just make up their mind? I mean, we haven't even gotten to see him in competitive because he's been global banned. At least in Korea and China, he's been global banned for 2 patches now. 175%, 0.4 ability power. I mean, this is all fine because Tank Echo is, sorry, calling him by his real name. Tank Sylas is the best way to go anyway. So the AP ratio doesn't really affect him that much. This obviously will impact him, but yeah. W attack speed increased, helping out Trundle's early game laning and jungling, 20 to 100% to 30 to 100%. I don't think that you max Frozen Domain first. I might be wrong on Trundle. Maybe I am wrong. If you do end up maxing it first, it doesn't do anything. If you max it way later, then I guess you end up getting some power. I mean, the most noticeable is definitely the rank 1. You get 10% bonus attack speed. You end up getting a dagger for free, which obviously is welcome. Xayah W attack speed increase. W deadly plumage, 30 to 50% scaling to 40 to... Wow. That's really good. Oh, that's a fantastic Xayah buff. Zoe, E cooldown, increase, slow, decreased, late. All right, the slow doesn't really matter. The Sleepy Bubble trouble is what actually matters. Especially because Zoe's menacing part is usually in the mid-game transition, and so the bubble is completely fine there. I think having 2 seconds added onto it is completely fair. I think having 4 seconds added onto it early and then having it essentially just be 3 seconds in the mid-game is completely fine as Zoe gets to it. Tier of the Goddess line. All tier items now belong in a tier item group with a maximum of 1 allowed. Sad times. This is a really big Ezreal nerf, of course. What this ends up meaning is that Ezreal will no longer be going the AP route, which is kind of weird because wasn't the way that they wanted to hit Ezreal hitting his AP ratios or something. This doesn't make Ezreal gone. It just makes it so that he has to go back to being AD Ezreal. So I think that he becomes more situationally picked. He's still the same exact mid-game menace that he was before. So his 3 item is the same. So Ezreal's still completely fine. Brawlers Gloves, critical strike is no longer unique. Nice. Gotta get 6 gloves because we're all Goro. Minion Dematerializer, charges and initial cooldown decreased. Damage bonuses increased. Charges 6 to 3. Base damage bonus 4 to 6%. Additional damage bonus 1 to 3%. Starting cooldown 240 to 180. I really like this a lot. Mid laners are only usually using the first 3. Everything after that essentially is luxury. What this ends up doing is it does bring Singe back in the top lane, I believe. And the reason that it does a lot of things. This helps Shen in top lane. This helps Singed in top lane. This helps tanks in top lane. This helps everyone who needs to live through the level 3 and 4 so much. So I think that this ends up really bringing Singed back, potentially. So I think this is actually fantastic. I think that this doesn't really do anything, though, to the mid laners that end up taking Dematerializer, so Lissandra is still going to be a menace. Overheal shield conversion decreased early. This is only impactful on certain ADCs, I guess. So, yeah, it's okay. Bounties. Minion and monster gold bounties accrue more slowly and decrease if you lose your advantage. Scoreboard numbers no longer include base kill or first blood gold, okay? Bounty value 50 gold for every 150 to 200 more minion and monster gold you have over the enemy. 50 gold for every 200, okay. Minion and monster gold bounties now decrease if you lose your advantage. Support item gold now contributes to minion and monster gold bounties to accurately reflect when someone is farming and using a support item, okay? Enemy team's gold from support items and minion divided by 4 point. Ooh, okay. Scoreboard and chat bounty numbers only reflect the gold value from bounties. 300 base kill gold and 104. Okay, that's actually really cool. I like these changes to bounties. I really do like them, even if they do hurt late game scaling a little bit. I think that's fine. Ability proc consistently. We've gone through the types of abilities in the game and fixed a few inconsistencies. Now the ability proc split into roughly 3 main categories: on hit, dot, AoE, and pet damage. Focus pretty under the hood for the most part, but there are 3 major changes that will ensure all our procs as far as we unified on hit ability. Okay. Effects that treat dot and AoE will go more restrictive. Okay. I mean, I thought this how it was anyway, so, okay. Rank changes. We've turned off positional ranks in North America and Korea partway through last patch and won't be rolling them out again. We want to thank all the players who tried out the positional ranks during this time for submitting feedback to the team. You're welcome. Looking forward, we'll be resetting the top of the rank ladder with 9.6 releases. As a reminder, here's what this entails. Master, Grandmaster, and Challenger players become Master 0 LP. Diamond 3, 2, and 1 are demoted by 1 division, preserving promotional series progress and LP. Diamond 4 players become Diamond 4 0 LP no matter what. For Diamond 1 players in series, 2 wins or losses become 1 win or 1 loss. For example, 2-2 becomes 1-1. You'll keep rewards, but they'll match your new rank. Grandmaster and Challenger lock until March. Okay, fantastic. I hope that MMR is fixed, though, because it doesn't change that players can just play a lot at the very beginning of the season. It doesn't change that they can do that, you know? So hopefully that doesn't end up being the case. Missions okay, lever buster. Fixed a bug when the game would sometimes fail to detect a lever. Okay, lever detection slightly more lenient if your team wins the game. Lever buster, okay, bug fixes, doesn't matter. All right, now let's get to the most important part. The Corgi skin, all right, looks pretty good. All right. Wait, what? Oh, Fizz is in here? Where? What? Where's Fizz? Did I just click the... Oh, Fuzz Fizz. Oh, that's adorable. That's almost like a champion in and of itself. Meow. Oh, are they all the same splash? Oh, they are. Oh, okay. They're all basically the same splash. So you guys can't see it on the screen, but this is definitely Beast from X-Men. So who is that? Meowric. Is that Yorick? Okay, that's Beast from X-Men. I really don't know what this is. I'm trying to think what this actually is. Yeah, I don't, you know, I really don't know. Yeah, I'm not quite sure actually what to identify this person as. I like how Kindred's a judge though. That really gets to me. Why is Kindred? All right, Draven's a judge, Katarina's a judge, and Kindred's a judge. And Kindred is looking like this cat, like it's going to eat it. So, see if there's any other Easter eggs in the splash art. That's probably Warwick. We're just going to say that that's Warwick. Okay. Doesn't look like there's any other... Oh, that's Nidalee. Nidalee is here. That cat is actually the strongest thing right here. Can you guys see it? No, you can't. Okay, now you can. See this? Right. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's that? What's that? Oh, that's Meowkai, right? This cat right here, this is the strongest... Like, you know that guy on Reddit that does the champion lore, and he does, like, the power levels of all the champions? There's, like, Harbinger tier and, like, Mortal tier and all that. This cat right here, okay? His name is Charles, and Charles is the strongest thing on Runeterra. If Charles wants you to not exist, he simply just wishes it. That's what Charles does. So now that you all know, just remember, don't mess with Charles, because bad things will happen. Charles isn't in the game yet. But anyways, yeah, Charles is really angry. Let's just do a really quick recap. Kayle, nerfs are the most laughable thing I've seen in recent patches. Neeko is completely fine. I think that she's actually viable as a counter pick to certain team comps and obviously lane. Ornn, I welcome the buffs, obviously, but I don't think that it's enough to magically make him come back. I think in solo queue, there's better champions. In competitive, he has to answer an entire team comp, not just his own lane. Urgot looks like he's back. Aatrox doesn't really matter. Caitlyn, very, very nice buff. Gnar, I think Gnar's really terrible. Hecarim might actually become a competitively viable jungler off of this. Ivern, I think, is already competitively viable, but I think there's very few teams that can use him or that are willing to use him. Jayce nerfs, I think, are one of the most balanced changes I have ever seen historically. And I'm not just saying that because I had a personal talk with Jad. Okay, I'm not selling out. Good job, Jad. Leblanc is a completely fine nerf. Nautilus, I think, is more so a buff to support than anything else. Reksai doesn't think that it does too much. Shen, I think, is already on the cusp of being competitively viable again in top lane. I think this is a massive buff for support Shen. Sylas, they have to make up their mind. Trundle doesn't really matter. Xayah is a fantastic buff. Zoe is a completely balanced buff. Tear the Goddess doesn't still affect what makes Ezreal as good as he is. I think that they're still going to need to look at him. Brawlers Gloves, you know, you need to do that. Minion Dematerializer doesn't do anything to the mid laners that use it. Doesn't do anything to the bully champions that use it. In fact, I guess maybe for the bully champions it ends up being a nerf. For certain tanks in top lane, as well as Singed, this is a massive, massive buff. Overheal, not the end of the world. Bounties, I like it, but I don't at the same time. And that's pretty much it. So... as for the ranked thing, I really hope that there's gated MMR or there's something that just prevents like people from playing 100 games and climbing. But that's pretty much it. So hope you guys enjoyed the patch rundown. I actually did. This is one of the first patches where I did not lose my mind.